Indiana middle school students are stumbling to make progress in reading and writing. This year's ILEARN scores show only about 38% of 7th grade students pass the state's English and language arts exam. That's a drop of nearly 4 points from last year. Overall, more than 40% of students were proficient in English, a slight decrease compared to last year. ILEARN measures English language, arts, and mathematics skills for students in grades 3 through 8. And for more on the results released Wednesday, we're joined now by Steve Hennefeld, a media specialist at IU and author of the School Matters blog. Welcome back to the show. So nice to have you.
It's good to be here. Thanks.
So the big takeaway was that drop in middle school English and language scores. Is this just a continued fallout from the pandemic?
I think that the pandemic probably would have something to do with it. I think it's another reminder that was a real disruption to schooling. Keep in mind that these middle school students last year were in 2nd and 3rd grade, 4th grade, and the time that the pandemic really disrupted schooling, a time when they would have been like acquiring those early reading skills. And so maybe it's not surprising that they would be affected still, and that their growth in reading would still be affected. At the same time, keep in mind that the NAEP scores, National Assessment for Educational Progress scores for Indiana, that came in January were actually really good. 8th graders improved, and we're doing Indiana scores for like 6th best in the country. So there's other indicators that may sort of contradict this latest bad news.
Yeah, scores, elementary school students increased over the 2021 test results, but the average passing is only around 41%. What's the state involvement in this?
Well, the state really has put a lot into literacy, into English language arts. They've spent something like $170 million in the last 2 years. A lot of that came from the Lilly Endowment. You know, there's some indication that's made a difference. Those lower grades scores, proficiency rates in ILEARN did improve in English language arts, and so that's, you know, that's a good thing. What they haven't done, to my knowledge or to date, is to put that kind of effort into reading for those kids that are currently in middle school, where there's an expectation that, yeah, you've already learned to read and now you're reading to learn.
How about Monroe County Community Schools? How did they fare in average with the state?
In average with the state, Monroe County Community Schools and Richland Beam Blossom schools were above average. So were the charter and private schools in Monroe County. All Monroe County pretty well above the state average. Sort of the caveat there is that if you break it down further, school by school, there are some schools that are high, some schools that are low. We've always seen that in Monroe County with high poverty and low poverty schools. And if you disaggregate the scores, there were bigger gaps in Monroe County than in the state on average, for example, between black students and white and Asian students, between students who qualify for free and reduced lunch and students who don't.
Got about 30 seconds left, though. Of course, we're talking about a lot of funding cuts, and schools are one of them. How's that going to affect?
Well, it's significant. It's going to be significant. Schools are getting significantly much less money than they anticipated, and there's just this expectation in Indiana and elsewhere, as you well know, that you're going to do more with less, and it just doesn't work that way.
Steve, thank you so much for being on the show. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Joe.